Just real quick, I'd like to make an announcement today. Today is Arizona's Peace Officers Memorial. Law enforcement from across the state are gathering down at Wesley Bowling Plaza as we speak in honor of all the fallen officers throughout history in Arizona. And I would like to make special note of Russell Duncan, who gave the ultimate sacrifice 11/9 of 1983 for Apache Junction. So just keep those officers in your prayers that have given the ultimate sacrifice for their communities, their counties, and the state. And then National Police Week will be coming up the week of the 12th through the 15th of May.
Okay, call to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Wilson,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Schroeder,
Present.
Councilmember Cross,
Here.
Councilmember Heck,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Nesser,
Present.
Councilmember Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Excuse me. Thank you. Can't speak here. Okay, agenda item, presentation, discussion of cases P 23-63 PZ and P 2364 GPA.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Kelsey Shatnick. I am a planner on staff, and tonight's presentation is regarding a proposed rezoning and major general plan amendment for a rental development to be called Silver Ray. So the subject site is located near the southeast corner of the US 60 and Goldfield Road. The applicant's request includes a major general plan amendment from commercial to high-density residential, a plan development rezoning from general commercial by plan development, B1PD and B1PD, to high-density multiple family residential by plan development, RM2PD, to facilitate the development of 271 rental units. This proposal will also include a replat in order to combine the northern parcels. So again, this property is zoned B1PD. However, there are two different ordinances for the property. Ordinance 1144 on the northern site, and then 1146 south of Resort Boulevard. And I'll give a little bit of background on those two items on the next few slides. But in terms of the surrounding zoning, to the north you have RSGR state land as well as US 60. To the south and east you have the Dolce Vita community, and to the west you have the Golden Vista community. So ordinance number 1144, which governs the parcels north of Resort Boulevard, was approved in 2000 and approved a commercial center. The proposed development included pad sites for a gas station, office, retail, service, restaurant, and a two-story hotel. The gas station was developed, however, the rest of the site remains vacant. And then ordinance number 1146, which approved a hospital site in 2000. Again, this governs the portion south of Resort Boulevard. This development would have included a 60-bed hospital campus with a main hospital unit and medical office building, and a helipad was proposed on the northwest corner off of Goldfield Road. Within this ordinance, a height limit was proposed and limited it to 45 feet, which is approximately 4 stories. Moving on to the general plan land use map, currently this property is designated commercial, and the applicant is proposing a redesignation to high-density residential. So here's the proposed site and landscape plan for the property. So the applicant is proposing 271 total units with 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. All units will be 2-story and include private yards. Parking will include both covered and uncovered spaces as well as garage options. And there will be shared amenities spread throughout the community, including a pool, clubhouse, dog parks, walking paths, and game lawn. Here are the proposed elevations for the site. I have included 3 examples. However, there are a total of 8 elevation types. As you can see, multiple materials are being included in these elevations, including tile roofs, brick veneer, as well as stucco. In terms of public input, per the major general plan amendment requirements, a 60-day review notice was sent to local stakeholders and neighboring municipalities. Pinal County was the only response and was not in favor of this amendment. In addition to this, a sign was posted at the site, notices were sent out to property owners within 300 feet, and the case was advertised in the newspaper. The applicant also held multiple neighborhood meetings regarding this item. Staff has received multiple calls and emails regarding the proposed development. Those include 17 emails, a letter, as well as a protest petition. All of these items were included as attachments to the staff report. And throughout all of that, primary areas of concern included a 2-story building height, traffic, availability of water, as well as property values. So planning staff is generally supportive of the development. However, staff is recommending that at least 5 acres of land on the northern section of the subject site be reserved for a future commercial development. And there are a few topics we considered in making this recommendation. So first is the voter-approved general plan, which already designates this area as commercial. We also have the close proximity of this parcel to both the US 60 and future north-south corridor. We have noted the recent concern of rezoning commercial properties to residential, as well as the limited availability within the city for a community commercial type of development. And so, our larger commercial properties are becoming increasingly limited, and this site is one of the few remaining commercial properties that you'd be able to develop a larger site. So the Planning and Zoning Commission held 2 public hearings regarding this item. The first was on March 26th, and the second was on April 23rd. Ultimately, the commission voted 4-3 to recommend approval of both the rezoning and major general plan amendment with the elimination of project-specific conditions number 1 and 2. So project-specific condition number 1 would have required the applicant to reserve 5 acres of land for commercial development, and project-specific condition number 2 would have addressed the uses permitted on that commercial property. So effectively, this recommendation approved the development as proposed by the developer. So the commissioners who were in favor of the project as proposed by the developer noted the benefit of developing a historically vacant property. They discussed whether the site was viable for a commercial use and noted that the approved development plan has been in existence for 20 years and has yet to be developed. They noted the benefit of adding additional rooftops. They discussed the recent trends of commercial development, and they also noted not wanting to keep commercial property that may never develop. The commissioners who were against the proposal noted the desire of an ownership product at this site as opposed to rental. They noted the lack of desire to continue changing the voter-approved general plan. They discussed the concerns of changing commercial to residential, as well as concerns regarding the lack of affordability with market rate housing. So staff is recommending approval of both the rezoning and major general plan amendment subject to the full list of conditions within the staff report, including project-specific conditions number 1 and 2. So again, project-specific condition number 1 would require the applicant to reserve 5 acres of property for a commercial use, and the second would help to regulate the uses permitted on that property. And I've listed all of the uses out here. I tried to make it as big as I could, but just to note a few, we have motor vehicle dealer, death care services, check cashing stores, cemeteries, basically uses that are not conducive to developing a retail commercial type of development. So we've reviewed the reasons behind staff's general recommendation. However, I wanted to provide some insight into why we are recommending the 5 acres remain commercial. So again, our recommendation originally noted the existing general plan designation as commercial, as well as the site location near the freeway, and then just the general support of the project. But in terms of having 5 acres for development, so there are 2 primary reasons we chose this. So first would be the trends of what a community commercial development is. So on the screen, I've highlighted what that 5 acres, where it would be on the property. And basically, a lot of community commercial developments, you'll see them range 5 acres, 7 acres, 10, a little bit more. And types of items that you would see be developed would be maybe an anchor grocery store, some inline retail, some medical uses, maybe a few pad sites to be located on that site. And then, so in addition to that, again, we discussed the parcel layout and just some of the complications of this site. So first is that this site is bifurcated by a private road, Resort Boulevard, That road is going to continue to remain private, so it just kind of creates a little challenge with connectivity between the northern and the southern parcels. Not to say that it couldn't be done, however, we have noted that this is a challenge with this site. And there's also an existing wash on this site, so I've highlighted the most relevant portion of this wash, but it does continue south. Essentially, it makes it a little bit challenging to create connectivity between these two smaller parcels and the rest of the parcels moving west. And then, so it creates a little bit of a challenge creating connectivity. It's further away from Goldfield Road. It starts to not be as visible from the roadway, so it kind of creates a little more of a challenge developing commercial there. So the next steps for this item, again, this is a work session, so the public hearing will be on May 21st, 2024. At this public hearing, we anticipate that there would be 3 primary options for this project. So the first would be the approval of the general plan amendment and rezoning as proposed by the developer and recommended by the Planning Commission, which essentially would have the entire property developed residential. The second would be the approval of the general plan amendment and rezoning as recommended by staff. So again, reserving those 5 acres for a commercial use. And the third would be the denial of the general plan amendment and rezoning. So the current zoning that is in place, so those 2 ordinances would continue to be valid. So that concludes my presentation for this evening. However, I did want to note one thing before kind of opening it up to questions. Just to note that planning staff are not, we're not commercial developers, we're not real estate brokers, we're not economic development specialists. However, in reviewing these proposals, we receive guidance from the general plan, public input, Planning and Zoning Commission, City Council, as well as our knowledge and experience regarding current market trends and development trends. So, these are just some of the tools and planning staff's toolbox that we use to make our thoughtfully considered recommendations, just to kind of give a little bit of an insight on how we review these projects. So with that, I'll open it up to discussion and any questions.
Yes.
I have a question. Would you go back to your map with the orange where you're showing the commercial? Okay, what was this? Explain again. This one here shows this, and then you have one where it shows a longer. What's the difference now here?
So this is just kind of highlighting Resort Boulevard and how it's in the center of the property.
I couldn't figure out how that was all part of this 5-acre commercial. So you're saying this other, though. Now, my question is, why did you choose this 5 acres and not this whole strip that's north of the driveway?
So part of that had to do with the location of the wash again. So again, I'll kind of highlight where that is. So it creates a challenge with connecting these parcels. And typically, if you're going to have a complete commercial development, you want people to be able to drive to and from all of the different parcels. So we thought that would just kind of be a challenge.
Well, what does that leave then up there? Are they going to, on the north side of the driveway, stick a couple houses or up there?
So those would be rezoned and developed with their current proposal. So yes, there would be housing.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
why did the county reject it?
I'm sorry, can you
Why
repeat?
did the county not like this plan?
So within their kind of land use map, they did designate a portion of this as commercial. And so they just saw this as a commercial opportunity, kind of for the same reasons that I noted in my plan. I believe their plan kind of cut it off right here so that this area was commercial, the rest was residential. And their full letter was provided to you if you'd like to, look into that. But that was essentially their reasoning behind that.
Yes.
So what you're saying is the part that they would, under the recommendation of staff, would be that 5-acre parcel would go to commercial, and then the one that's on our site plan where they've got that whole extra section back there would be developed along with the main section. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Yes.
Is the
is there a possibility of, without having to do a major plan development change, that could be a medical plaza versus a hospital?
That could be a possibility, yes. However, staff would need to receive a proposal, review the proposal against the approved ordinance, and see whether or not, like, how far it deviates from the original proposal. So if it's generally in line, maybe even less intensive of a use, but still conceptually the same, then it is possible that a similar use would not have to go through a major amendment. But we would not know that for sure until we saw a physical proposal.
Thank you. Mayor,
Yes?
how many residents were for or against this when they had their meetings?
Which, these or these residents?
Both. How many from Dolce Vita and how many from the other community gave input into this? And how many were negative and how many were positive?
So the full, so I did provide the full kind of list of, everyone for or against that was provided by the applicant from their neighborhood meetings. It's challenging to give an exact number. However, staff did receive 17 emails. Most of them were against the proposal for the reasons that I noted. There is also a protest petition by the residents of Golden Vista, so that property just west of Goldview. I believe, give or take, about 80-plus residents have signed that. 170. I apologize, 170 residents have signed that.
Okay.
And that's in the packet.
That is in the packet.
Yeah, I just wanted to get it out to the public.
So Kelsey, one of the things that you had mentioned about not in support of this is, were all of them from the west? Because one of the line items you said was property values. So I would imagine that's from the east. So the people in the trailer parks are worried about the property values?
The individuals in Golden Vista primarily noted property values because they own their lot. So they own their unit and their lot, whereas Dolce Vita are all renters.
Okay.
Well, Dolce Vita, they own the home but not the land, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Presentation and discussion and second amendment for proposal services agreement between Apache Junction and Central Arizona Council on Development Disabilities for Senior Transportation Services.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jamie Sullivan. I'm the Recreation Superintendent, but I also brought backup with me. So I have JJ Underwood, who is the coordinator for senior services, and then I got my boss too. So hopefully I can handle this on my own. So quick history, I'm coming to you tonight to present on approving a second amendment to our service agreement with Central Arizona Council for Development Disabilities, also known as CACDD. Back in 2017, our agreement started, and it was to provide transportation to the senior center Monday through Friday for lunches. We've added shopping trips, medical trips, and on occasion we have some special events that happen. And in May of 2002, we came for our first amendment, which was a change in fees. And then tonight, CACDD has recommended a second amendment. So we're gonna dive into that. So, but first, I wanna share a little numbers with you guys, not really related to transportation, but without transportation, these numbers would not be what they are. So just in 12 months' time, we've almost served 31,000 meals. We've provided over 5,000 trips, and we have about 4,500 people participating in programs. Those are arts and crafts, bingo, educational, health cooking classes, and whatnot. And that transportation provides people who can no longer drive, maybe they're isolated in their homes and they don't have caregivers or family to bring them. So the transportation we provide gets them to our facility. So the changes to the agreement, in 2002, the agreement was for $17.50 per rider with, we had to have a minimum of 6 riders per day. And then there was a $6 a mile and $25 an hour for individual extended trips, medical trips, shopping trips. So CACDD is recommending a flat rate at $240, and we can have up to 18 riders. Currently, we have on average 12, but that fluctuates. Sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less. And then an $80 flat rate added on to that if we have an extended day for social programs, food boxes, any other type of events that we have. And then upping that $6 to $8 a mile, and then staying at the $25 an hour. This is rarely used. It was actually used mostly during COVID when individuals needed to be transported, but we very rarely use that individual trip rate. So the new agreement will have a minimal increase, but we will stay under the proposed budget that you guys saw tonight. So we're not asking for any more money in our budget. We just know that there's going to be a slight increase, but it will also make planning very easy because it's not a per rider, so we know exactly how much we're going to be spending. And should we grow our program, which is what our hope is, it will actually help us grow it without going over budget or having to stay at a limited number of riders. So we're excited for that. We do prefer the new amendment. It will be cleaner, the billing will be easier to look at, and like I said, be great for us to be able to anticipate our budget. So Parks and Rec and CACDD, we have had a very successful agreement with them. We recommend that council approve the second amendment, and we will be back on May 21st. And questions?
Yes.
How many, what do you think your average riders per day is?
12.
It is? Okay.
And it will fluctuate. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but that's our average right now, which is about $212. So the $240 is a slight increase, but again, if we meet or exceed that average, we're actually doing very well. So with the rates increased in insurance and gasoline and the price of, personnel, we think this is a very fair adjustment.
Yes.
Jamie, is there any part of this that the riders are charged for any of this, or is it everything
Nope.
covered by that?
They can contribute should they choose to, but we don't solicit, we just say if you want to, and I want to say over a year's time, we might bring in $1,000. Oh, that's more meals, no. Yeah, we can't charge, so if they want to contribute, but it's very minimal if they even do give anything.
So we don't really do any assessment of whether or not a person needs transportation?
No, so we receive funding through PG, through Pinal Gila Council for Senior Services. I might be missing an acronym in there. We can't charge because we receive that funding from them, which is also federal dollars. So they do stipulate that we cannot charge. But I can almost guarantee you that everybody that's on that bus needs to be on that bus. You don't want them driving.
Don't sugarcoat it for us.
I'm helping you guys, I promise, I promise.
I'm thinking of a few people I might send your way.
Send them our way. Like I said, we can move that up. Our average is 12. We can go all the way till 18. That's our goal. Some days when we do our food boxes, the food boxes take up room, so we wouldn't be able to take a full 18, but.
Hey, Peter, me and you might be getting on that bus soon.
I'm liking that idea, man. I can get
We'll pick you up. You're all in the
ride to
city
the
limits. We'll
multi-jet.
pick you up.
Drop him off where,
Yeah.
though?
We'll feed you too. We'll feed you. Bingo, arts and crafts. Come on. You guys are all not there yet, right?
I don't know. Bingo, I don't know.
I was thinking
liking
about
that.
that too.
Come on down. You can win some dish towels.
No, I know to keep my mouth shut in this conversation.
This is how we should have started. I'm much more relaxed. What else you guys got? All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll be back on the 21st.
Well, thank you. Okay, we are now adjourned. Thank you.